We've had a lot of rain over the last couple of weeks, so the creek is up just a little bit. I think last time we were here, right there you could actually see the mud, or I guess the sand, but it's covered with water right now. So the creek has risen a little bit, but it's very beautiful out here.
Today we're working on our off-grid outdoor kitchen build. We're starting with a raised 10x10 deck that will ultimately become our kitchen and give us amazing views of the creek. We hope to show you what's possible with a little elbow grease and a lot of motivation. Let's get going. Because we're putting this on some kind of wet or damp earth that really hasn't had anything done to it probably in forever, you want to put something down that's going to help ensure that the concrete block has good stability, so that it doesn't get washed out right away. We're doing it very basically, so over time we'll have to monitor it, but this is really the basics of what you would want to do.
A good foundation is what you're doing.
It's a good foundation, and we'll see how it goes. We keep saying that we're not experts by far.
Yeah.
It's just we've done this before on about the same scale, and what we built worked out great, and it's still standing almost 10 years later with no issues. So, but this is just something we're doing outside, like I said, where it's potentially a wet area. So we're just trying to make sure that we're protecting ourselves and having a deck that's above ground. And what I'm doing here is using some L brackets to attach the 2x4s to the post. I've already attached the exterior to the post just straight through the board. So this is a little bit of overkill too, I'm sure. But since it's the foundation of the deck, which will ultimately be the outdoor kitchen, I want to make sure it's very stable. So like I said, it may be a little bit of overkill, but that's me. Okay, now we're at a part where I'm going to be putting the 2x4s, the support structure underneath too. What I'm going to do is use these little brackets. It makes it easier to slide the 2x4 into place. So I've marked a point on here where I want it. I've matched it at the bottom to make sure I know where the bottom of the board will come to. So it'll be level on the top.
Your knees hurting?
My body's hurting.
That's what old...
I got a recommendation for you. Don't get old and don't get fat. Huh. Neither of them are enjoyable.
Is that all of it?
Yep.
Finally?
Yep.
Your hands are hurting?
Yep, they're shaking.
Ugh.
But using a straight board kind of helped me, because on some of them, because of the way I did it, I didn't do it board by board. And by putting the board down and just keeping it consistent, I made sure to stay on top of the 2x4 underneath. So that saves some time.
Good. What you doing, Toddy?
I'm putting some stain on the deck.
It's Cabot stain and sealer all in one, and it is the honey teak. I think that's going to be pretty, huh?
Yep.
Oh, that's looking good. Oh wow, yeah, look at that color.
Yeah, this one has the sealant in it, but while this is a deck right now, it's ultimately going to have more or less a building on top of it that'll be our outdoor kitchen. And so once it has the top on it, we're not going to have to worry about a lot of wear, or at least weather wear on it. So I expect this is going to hold up pretty well. I really like the color.
Well, and I think it's a lot easier for you to do this now before we put the walls and all that
absolutely.
up.
And the other thing too is I'm using a smaller roller. My thought is with a small roller, because these deck boards are almost 6 inches wide, I'll be able to use less of the stain. I won't have it sloshing everywhere. I'm able to do kind of like more or less focus in on one board at a time, and that seems to be working out pretty well.
Man, that color's pretty.
Yeah, just apply the stain actually where it's needed with the roller, and like I said, it's not sloshing everywhere. If we're using a paintbrush, it's going to be pretty heavy, but with the roller you can thin it out as much as you want to make sure it's all consistent.
It's looking good.
Yep. Pretty close.
So what'd you do with the steps so far?
Well, we bought some 48-inch heavy duty steps, and we cut those in half because we don't need that for this. This is a camp that we're going to be going with here. This will work fine. I have it attached underneath with multiple brackets. I'm going to also put a few screws in through the back, and then these are going to get attached with some screws. I have the underneath, I got some concrete blocks to keep the steps off the ground. Even though it's treated, if you leave it like that on the ground, it's going to rot pretty quick. So I think this will work out pretty good. We'll see. I'll test it out in just a few minutes, and if I don't fall to my death, then we'll know it's okay.
Raise one of those up so we can see that you haven't attached that yet, and that's what you're fixing to do.
Yep.
To all of those.
Yep.
All right, so let me see you run. All the way up. No.
Run? No.
Well,
Amble?
yeah, kind of.
Prance? Maybe. It's good. I don't want to step on that yet because it's still wet.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to eventually add some rails to the side of that just to be, you know, a little bit safer. We just need to be able to get up there to start the walls next.
Yeah.
And
well, we need to be able to get up there in general.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be an outdoor kitchen.
Right.
And these are about 24 inches across, so it's a 2-foot area. But again, this is not standard, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But this is a camp.
Right.
And that's what we're going for. That's what we're going with. We don't have to worry. This is not a permitted build.
Yeah.
This is unrestricted land where
Right.
we can build like this. So make sure if you're doing it, you got to make sure and check all those things out, because you don't want them, the state or the county or the omnipotent group of individuals at the top coming to tell you can't do something. So just check all those things out first.
Okay, so at the end of each day, after all that hard work, got to do a little fishing too, huh?
Well, I got to feed you somehow.